Gary Rodriguez. I'm the owner of ProBooks Financial, and I've got great news for small business owners who have been waiting for the second round of the Paycheck Protection Program to begin. This weekend, the Small Business Administration issued its final guidance for this new program, and that's what this video is all about, to keep you, the small business owner, up to date on the latest news coming out of the Small Business Administration. To get to the point, the best news that I have for you today is that you can start applying for the second round of PPP starting this week. There are some details that are important for you to be aware of, but also at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you how you can get your hands on the new application, and of course, we are going to step with you each step along, or each step through the application process. So let's go over some of the key updates that are coming out of the SBA regarding this new program. One of the biggest changes with the new PPP is that Congress has made funding available to small businesses that had previously received a PPP loan. So if you already got your first PPP loan and you've already used the loan proceeds, or you're going to use them, or they're going to deplete soon, the good news is that Congress has made more funding available for businesses like you. Now, borrowers are eligible for a second draw on the PPP loan of up to $2 million, provided that you have no more than 300 employees, that you have used or will use the full amount of your PPP loan on or before the expected date for the second PPP loan to be dispersed. Now, this is very important, is in order for you to be eligible for this second round, you must have spent the full amount of your first PPP loan on eligible expenses. So if you weren't careful and to make sure that you spend it on eligible expenses, you will have an issue when applying for this loan. However, the good news is that Congress has also expanded the eligible expenses that can be covered with PPP loan proceeds. So that's something important also to keep in mind. The third provision is that your business must have experienced a revenue reduction of 25% or more in all or part of 2020 compared with all or part of 2019. And this is calculated by comparing gross receipts in any 2020 quarter with the same quarter in 2019. So, for example, if in the third quarter of 2019, you had gross income of $100,000. Then when you compare third quarter 2020, in order for there to be a 25% reduction, I know that this is elementary, but your revenue must have decreased by at least 25%. So it should have gone down $25,000. So now instead of $100,000, your gross revenues for that quarter were $75,000, and that you would meet that criteria. Now, what is the SBA's definition of gross receipts? Okay, the new guidance makes the definition consistent with other SBA regulations. So, gross receipts, when we're talking about PPP Round 2, gross receipts includes all revenue in whatever form received or accrued depending on your entity's accounting method. So if you're a cash basis, if your books are cash basis, then that's the way you're going to compute gross receipts. If your books are on accrual basis, then that's the way you're going to determine gross receipts. And so from whatever source, including from the sale of products or services, interest, dividends, rents, royalties, fees, or commissions, and reduced by returns and allowances. Now, something of importance is you do not include the PPP loan proceeds in 2020 gross receipts. Those do not count as 2020 gross receipts. Now, we've been talking about second draw PPP loans. Congress also has opened up PPP loans to businesses or borrowers that were in operation before February the 15th and come from one of the following groups. So if you have a business with fewer than 500 employees and you're also eligible for SBA 7A loans, you can apply for a first draw PPP loan. If you're a sole proprietor, an independent contractor, and eligible self-employed individuals, you can also, if you missed out on the first round, you can apply for a first draw PPP loan. So if you are a self-employed truck driver, if you are, if you work for somebody and they give you a 1099 at the end of the year, you are an independent contractor. You are perhaps an eligible self-employed individual. So again, if you get a 1099 and you didn't get a PPP loan, you may qualify for a first draw PPP loan. Not-for-profits, including churches, can apply for first draw PPP loans. So if you're a church, a nonprofit, you can also apply for this loan. If you are in the food service business or if you're in the accommodation business, so if your NAICS code starts with 72, if you have less than 500 employees, you can also apply for this loan. If, just in case someone from a chamber of commerce or maybe a broadcasting company is watching, you can also qualify for the first draw PPP loans. Now, there has been a key change from the original PPP if you're a publicly traded company or if your business is controlled directly or indirectly by the president, the vice president, the head of an executive department, if you're a member of Congress, or their spouses, those entities are not eligible for PPP loans. Congress made it very clear that this money is to help small businesses, not corporate America, but Main Street American businesses. Now, PPP applicants must submit documentation sufficient to establish that you're eligible, to demonstrate that to justify your payroll amount, and things that are service supporting documents, payroll records, payroll tax filings, forms 1099, Schedule C, which is a profit and loss from a business, or Schedule F, which is profit and loss from a farming, income from expenses from a sole proprietorship, or bank records. Now, PPP loan amounts, maximum amounts, something that I learned was 86% of PPP loans were below $150,000. So 86% of businesses, at least in the first round, were under 150 grand. So I don't think anybody is going to reach the maximum, at least not the people that I'm trying to help today with this video. But the first and second time PPP borrowers may receive a loan amount of up to 2.5 times their average monthly payroll cost. Now, if you're a hotel or restaurant, you can actually receive up to 3.5 times your average monthly payroll cost. So restaurants and hotels, don't miss out. Don't think that you're just going to get 2.5 times your payroll. It's going to be 3.5 times your payroll. And why? Because Congress has recognized that these industries have been hurting and have been hurting the most because of the lockdowns and things like that. Now, let's talk about eligible cost. Congress expanded the definition of eligible costs, expanded the expenses that you can use PPP loan proceeds to pay for. Now, in the first round of PPP, the costs eligible for loan forgiveness included payroll, rent, covered mortgage interest, just the interest portion, and utilities. But in addition to those, the following costs are now eligible: covered worker protection and facility modification expenditures, including PPE, to comply with COVID-19 federal health and safety guidelines. So um, if you need to buy masks, gloves, Lysol, disinfectants, things like that, those are now eligible costs under the PPP round two. Covered property damage costs related to property damage and vandalism or looting. Unfortunately, we saw some of those things in some areas, due to public disturbances in 2020 that were not covered by insurance, not covered by other compensation. You can use the PPP round two to pay for those costs, and it will be covered and it will be forgiven. Now, expenditures to suppliers that are essential at the time of purchase are also eligible to be forgiven. So you can pay for expenditures to suppliers that are essential to you, the borrower, for current operations, to keep operating. And covered operating expenditures, which refer to payments for any business software, cloud computing service that facilitate business operations, product or service delivery, the process, payment, or tracking of payroll expenses, so accounting, human resource expenses, sale and billing functions, accounting or tracking of supplies, inventory, records, and expenses. All of those things are now eligible costs. And to be eligible for the full loan forgiveness, PPP borrowers will have to spend no less than 60%. So you have to spend at least 60% of the funds on payroll over a covered period between 8 or 24 weeks. The first round of PPP, there was a lot of changes to it, right? Because the first economic stimulus package was passed in March, and there were like 5 different updates, and it started changing. It used to be where you had to spend at least 75% on payroll. You only had 8 weeks to spend it. But Congress said, you know what, we're going to give businesses a little bit more time to spend this money. And now that same flexibility is available during the second round. You get to choose the covered period between 8 weeks up to 24 weeks. So you determine how fast you can spend this money. I want to talk about something that, again, is going to be for at least 86% of the original borrowers from the first PPP. 86% of the loans that SBA made were for less than $150,000. SBA simplified this process, and it should have never been difficult as it was. It was easier to get the money than to get the loan forgiven, right? Because to get the loan, you just needed a 2-page application, and that was pretty much it. I mean, the underwriting was pretty relaxed, and no personal guarantees, no collateral, nothing like that. But to get it forgiven, it was also a 2-page application, but it was just the instructions were so complex and so cumbersome. The payroll record keeping and everything, you had to submit canceled checks and bank statements and payroll records and do FTE calculations, and there was a whole bunch of different things that it was just too complicated. So Congress simplified it for loans, for PPP borrowers that got a loan of less than $150,000. The borrower, what he needs to do now, this is the updated simplified forgiveness process. All you've got to do is sign and submit to the lender a certification that is not more than 1 page in length. And it includes a description of the number of employees the borrower was able to retain because of the loan. So basically, the government wants to know how many jobs were you able to save, because how many jobs were saved because of this first PPP loan. The estimated total amount of the loan spent on payroll costs and the total loan amount. Now, the SBA has not issued a simplified application form, but they've got to do that by January the 20th. So if you've got loan forgiveness on your mind, because you say, well, the original loan terms, the original loan terms was that you had a 6-month deferred payment, but that's changed. So don't worry if the 6 months are up and you're like, I have not gotten the loan forgiven. My lender has not contacted me to start payments. What do I do? All the banks are waiting for this one-page attestation form that will be issued and available to borrowers by January the 20th. Sign up. There's going to be a link here at the bottom of the page where you can link, and we will keep you up to date when that form has been issued. Now, the form will not require additional materials unless necessary to substantiate the revenue loss requirements or to satisfy other regulatory requirements. So it used to be where you had to turn in payroll and all of these different things. It's simplified, nothing like that again. But a caveat, you are required to retain the relevant records related to employment for 4 years and other records for 3 years, because the SBA has the authority to review and audit those loans to check for fraud. So very important. The process is simple, but it does not release you from the requirement to keep good records in case of an audit. Going back to PPP round 2, this Economic Aid Act, the new COVID relief law, provides set-asides for new and smaller borrowers and for borrowers in low and moderate income communities and for community and smaller lenders. So if, and this is important, if you're a minority-owned business, if you're a woman-owned business, if you live in a community that is a low-income community, you are a priority to Congress and in this law. So this law is setting aside $15 billion for lending by community financial institutions. So we're not talking about the big guys. We're not talking about Chase. We're not talking about Wells Fargo. We're not talking about BBVA or Bank of America. Those banks are great and they have their customers and they're serving them well. But there are many small community banks that have stepped up to the plate, that are there for their community, that are there for their small businesses. And the SBA is setting aside $15 billion across first and second PPP loans for lending by community financial institutions. They're also setting aside $15 billion across first and second draw PPP loans for lending by insured depository institutions, credit unions, farm credit systems, and so again, for small banks with assets of less than $10 billion. Specifically for first-time PPP borrowers, they're setting aside $35 billion, and they're also setting aside $15 billion and $25 billion for first draw and second draw loans for borrowers with a maximum of 10 employees, or for loans of less than $250,000 to borrowers in low and moderate neighborhoods. So again, the SBA is prioritizing small businesses. This is for you. If you're a small business, you're hurting, you're on the verge of closing your doors, don't do it before you consider whether or not this PPP loan is for you, because at the end of the day, if you spend it on the right things, it is forgivable. So those are some of the things that some of the key updates. Just let me make sure that I got everything that I wanted to touch on today. Again, COVID, Congress revived the PPP loan as part of the COVID-19 relief bill that was signed into law. This just happened on December the 27th. And so there's more money for small businesses. If you got a PPP loan, more than likely you have gotten a loan, an email or some sort of correspondence from your lender saying, hey, we're gearing up for round 2. If you haven't, give me a call, send me an email, sign up today so you can be informed. If you need a new lender, please reach out to me. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help small businesses like you weather the storm. Maybe you don't know what the next step is. Well, let us help you determine that. Let's see, what else? So again, if you're a small business, you have less than 300 employees, you used or will use the full amount of your first PPP loan, if you've experienced a reduction in revenue of at least 25% or more in 2020 compared to 2019, let us know. Give me a call. And again, this is for you. So I'm putting out this video. I don't normally do these types of videos, but I'm doing it for you so you can be informed, so you don't miss out on the funding that's available to you to help save jobs, to help save businesses. That's what we're all about. Maybe I think the hardest thing really, and it's not that hard, is you're going to have to compare, okay, did I have a 25% reduction in income? Yes or no? Some of you right off the bat say, oh, I know, without even looking at my books, I know that. But we don't know exactly what the bank is going to want to see. Are they going to want to see a P&L or not? I'm not sure. If you have QuickBooks Online or you have QuickBooks Desktop and you don't know how to run those reports, give us a call. I'm going to show you. There's going to be another video that I'm going to publish that will help you walk through the steps to pull the report that you need to compare 2020 to 2019. Again, my name is Gary Rodriguez. I'm the owner of ProBooks Financial. My website, www.probooksfinancial.com. You can reach me by phone. I've got a business number, 432-242-1295, or you can reach me at gaddy@probooksfinancial.com, gaddy@probooksfinancial.com. Thank you for tuning in. If this has been a good update, if it's been helpful to you, please share the video and sign up for updates. Sign up also on my website. I've got the application for the new PPP loan. I've got the instructions for the PPP loan, and I've put them together for you. So sign up so you can get your forms. If you need any help, please reach out to us. My hope is that 2021 is going to be a better year for you and for your business. Let's weather the storm together. Let's get the funding that you deserve and require, and let's move forward. And I'm expecting that 2021 is going to be a good year for us. So you have a blessed day. You have a wonderful weekend. Let's gear it. Don't wait until Monday. Let's work on it today, and let's get you ready so we can get your loan in. Now, I know I said that I was going to say goodbye. One last thing. If you have a community, if you do business with a community bank, community banks are going to have a 2-day window, exclusive 2 days of exclusivity. So basically a 2-day head start on the big banks. Again, this is because SBA wants to prioritize. So if you are doing business with a big bank, you probably won't be able to submit your application until January 13th or maybe a little bit later, because the first few days are going to be reserved for small banks. So there are advantages to working with small banks. I've seen them. They are there for their customers. Consider it. Again, if you're looking for a new banking relationship, or you need help, please give us a call. We've got a network of banks that we deal with, and that we got a great relationship, and they've really stepped up. And again, reach out to us. Thank you for your time. Share this video if it's been a blessing, and have a great day. Take care.